Hey, we're recording.
Hey, we did it.
And welcome to the Avants podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick.
And we're recording live in a place you probably don't recognize from our lame background, but we'll switch that up in a little bit.
I never want to leave here.
I know.
I mean, this room alone, but I never want to leave it.
Room.
Yeah. This is absolutely amazing. So
yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So obviously, I have a Carter Automotive Group tip of the week.
Oh, good.
Which is ironic for being in a different dealership.
Yes. I don't think this is a competing dealership.
I don't think so either.
So,
I don't think we're competing directly here with the same consumers.
I was actually at Carter Ballard today, as funny as it is. So yeah, okay.
So maybe we are. Anyway, so this is just a super easy one, but I thought it was funny given the actually not where we're at, kind of competes in this sense. But do you know what GTO stands for?
Grand Touring Option?
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
Close. It's Gran Turismo Olomagato, Mr. Roboto.
Which is interesting because that sounds very Italian to me, and
it
seeing
that
on the side of a Pontiac just doesn't seem to make sense.
It is kind of interesting, yeah. But you know what? They are actually, the Pontiac GTO, which is why I brought this up, is in fact a GTO.
Yes.
But not just by name, but by definition. It is a homologated car.
Oh.
And that's where the GTO came from. And now it does owe its roots to Ferrari.
I was going to say, when I think GTO, I sort of think a certain Ferrari, yeah.
But they were both designed to not compete in the same class, but under the same reasons. They're Grand Touring cars, and they were both built for homologation.
Okay.
And guess who decided to name the Pontiac GTO the GTO?
Bob Pontiac.
John DeLorean.
Oh,
John DeLorean. That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's John. We have John DeLorean to thank for that. And so,
because did he design it?
It was his first project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody knows their cars. We're going to talk about him in a second.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
The head of janitorial here? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do want to, if there is a shared, that is a shared name, and they both deserve that name. So the Pontiac GTO and the Ferrari 250 GTO, which won Le Mans twice, both are homologated race cars. Now, the GTO only had about 30-something examples, and the Pontiac GTO had about 30,000 examples, but yeah.
Is the new 599, that was a race car? Because there was a GTO version of that.
There was a GTO 599.
There was a 5. Yeah, see?
There we go. All right. We should probably introduce
Listen
our guest.
to the random man that you can't see.
Yes, you can't see our guest, but I will switch the camera to him right now.
Exactly.
And our guest this week, Rami Atherton. Welcome to the show.
It's Atherton, like the rich place in California.
Right.
In case you needed to know how to spell that. Yeah.
You know your geography.
There, I had to switch the
geology?
camera.
Yeah, I know my geology. Don't you worry. So, Rami, welcome to the show. We've been trying to do this for a while, and I'm glad to finally get you here. I guess, first of all, we are at the new OpenRoad dealership in Bellevue, correct?
Correct. We're sitting in my Rolls Royce showroom currently.
Yeah, you'll notice the color swatches behind you look beautiful. I hope I'm doing this right. Usually I have somebody else working the camera, a.k.a. Adam.
Yes.
So I'm doing it while trying to record, so forgive me, audience. I'm doing my best.
Hey, you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and so we had the... Back that up, sorry. We had the pleasure of having you show us around this brand new dealership. If they don't know, I think a lot of people in this area, we're used to Lamborghini and McLaren of Bellevue on the corner, but you guys have moved across the street and done a huge remodel of the old BMW dealership, correct?
Correct. We're sitting in 60,000 square feet. We took certificate of occupancy at the beginning of the year. We still haven't done the official opening yet, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
You know, we've got 4 brands here. We're going to make everybody happy. So we're still going through that process.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if you don't know, they're carrying Lamborghini, McLaren, Bentley, and Rolls Royce. And I was laughing because I pulled in the parking lot and your Porsche is sitting outside.
Yeah, I did find that kind of funny. So the guy who bought my Porsche for me lives in Yakima, and he had it for about a year, put an exhaust on it, played with it a little bit, and then he came over here and decided he needed a 720.
That's a good upgrade.
Yeah, Clay
it's funny because that's what you wanted to do, I think.
That is what I wanted to do. I actually wanted a 675, which was a little out of the budget, but I was hoping to get a McLaren next, and then the market went nuts.
I have a couple 675s for you.
I know you do.
He knows the guy.
Yeah, he has a couple 675s,
so
which are still out of my budget right now thanks to inflation and housing. And
kidneys don't go for what you think. I mean, the kidney market has not gone up like you think. Yeah.
So you know, hey, sooner or later I'll get one though. Anyway,
Rami, I want to talk about, you are a Pacific Northwest guy. Like, you grew up here, did you not?
No, actually, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I am new.
I thought you grew up in Bellevue.
No.
Oh, you live in Bellevue now.
I live in Bellevue.
I totally confused that. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of my dad, as you know my dad.
I am thinking of your father. I mean, yes, I do. I apologize for that. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you grew up down in L.A.
Correct.
And how long have you been in this business?
Car business since COVID.
Since COVID? Okay.
So I started off, my dad
Yes.
obviously has association with Park Place.
Never heard of it. No.
Yeah. It's just a small little place here in
Hold on.
Washington.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah, it's across the street. Yeah.
So obviously, coming into a new marketplace, what a great opportunity to meet people and be involved in a lot of events. I started off with Aston Martin Lagonda and had the opportunity to come over here and be the McLaren brand rep here at OpenRoad Northwest.
Nice.
And we're the premier auto group in Canada, but we're the new guys here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, we knew some of the successors, but when McLaren came down here, it was huge. I mean, that was something that people in this area have been looking forward to for a long time, and it's so nice to see them on the road now and have place they can go to be serviced. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So McLarens have their quirks, and
of course they do.
as anything British does. For the record.
I was going to say it's British. Yeah.
I'm a longstanding McLaren fan. Everybody knows that. It's no secret if you've listened to the show for more than 5 minutes. And favorite chassis I've ever driven was the 675 LT, which is why it's the top of my list, because it's like the obtainable dream car. And that's a stretch, I know, for a lot, but I'm one of those people, like, if I want it bad enough, I will find a freaking way. But I would love to know what your favorite McLaren quirks are, being the brand rep. Because and I don't mean defects, I mean quirks, because they have quirks.
Well, the biggest quirk for it, I had to say, is battery issues. So it's not driving the car. And it's the windows going down on you.
I experienced that firsthand.
Yes. So when that happens, you're not driving your car enough. And the alt saying rule is keep your car in a battery tender. So you can avoid most of your McLaren issues just with that.
I think McLaren built that in on purpose. They're like, hey, drive your car or we're going to roll the windows down.
How do we make this more British? I know, electrical issues.
Actually, that's actually interesting. As far as McLaren having a little bit of talking and control over their customers, you brought up something when we were walking around. McLaren doesn't like you parking their cars outdoors and storing them, correct? Like it
could void your warranty almost.
And I think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think that because obviously you should care for your cars. I mean, that's important. And I understand there are some people. Well, again, we don't live in Abu Dhabi, but you got to keep your cars clean. You got to keep them nice. But I found that very interesting that could be, and it makes total sense to me because
you have an exposed engine.
Exactly. I mean, it's like we've talked about 100 times on some of the Mercies and the fact that you can't park them downhill in the rain because you will drown the engine.
Yes.
So yeah,
seen that firsthand, and I've also seen there was an article. I don't remember where it was on, but there was some little funny clip where somebody had parked a McLaren outside, not storing it. They'd parked it under a tree for overnight. And there was a nest of squirrels in that tree. So it filled the exhaust, the top exhaust, just from falling. They filled the entire engine and the exhaust with acorns.
I think that'd be fun to start the car though and watch them go shooting across the neighborhood, but that's just me.
Flaming Acorns?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Flaming Acorns. Hey, that's a great name for a band. Flaming Acorns. Let's do that. Yeah.
And don't worry, guys, this is not a commercial for dealership, but this is an impressive facility. When it was BMW, it was, okay, it's a BMW dealership. This is not. This is nothing like the old facility.
This is a ultimate supercar destination.
Yeah.
And we're really focused on creating a culture here. It's Circle of the Northwest opening up and having some new opportunities where we're going to have some premier tracks here in the Pacific Northwest. We really want to be a track store, so getting your cars prepped, stored correctly. As you saw, we have plenty of indoor storage here.
You're not lacking in storage. So yeah.
Which is a big deal here. Like we just talked about, these cars should not be outdoors. When you bring your car in for service, it shouldn't be stored outdoors.
I want to talk a little bit about the dealership because we were walking around here, and I want to talk about some of the things that a brand like Rolls Royce or Lamborghini requires you to do in a dealership. Like as far as the type of doors, signage, things like that. And can you talk about that a little bit?
Real quick, I want to touch on that real quick.
Okay.
Also,
don't touch on that now.
Yeah. I actually do want you to touch on that, but I also want to understand something. So, like, if you go dealership to dealership, you have areas. Like, we've run into this with Mercedes and Linwood, and where, like, Chateau Saint Michel is technically Mercedes Linwood's territory.
Correct, yeah.
Even though they were closer to...
Thanks for bringing up that nightmare. Thank you.
Yeah. They were
wonderful people, but that was a whole thing.
But they were much closer to Mercedes at Bellevue at the same time. So how does it work that you have four brands that, especially McLaren and Lamborghini, who do directly compete in the same dealership? That's what I wanted to know.
Well, they all had their designated area and space. Some of the brand requirements were Lamborghini has a live feed from corporate. McLaren has a live feed from corporate. Rolls Royce has the Pentagon door coming in right now, which basically is a fancy way of saying Rolls Royce Grill, which every single dealer will have to do in the Pacific Northwest and nationwide.
Cool.
So a lot of the stuff here is the first being implemented, but you'll see it spread out throughout the other dealerships in the future. I will say McLaren's probably the most completed showroom here. So as you can see in our Rolls Royce showroom, we're still under construction. Lamborghini's about 80% there right now. And Bentley, we're still missing the furniture.
I mean, Bentley is awesome, though. You walk in there, the lighting in there is just incredible. I mean,
it is.
And like I said, so there's certain requirements, obviously, the dealerships. And I think what Dan was saying is Lamborghini doesn't have any problem being in the same dealership with McLaren. Like,
you know what? I probably do.
Okay. Well, obviously, if
there's going to be separate parties for both.
No, I understand.
Different track days for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Like I said, this space, what you guys have done with this and converted. I had been in here a few times when it was BMW. I'll be honest, I didn't like to come here when it was BMW.
Well, I think we're setting up an office for you here now, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. It's in the back by the dumpster. It's this little cardboard box. Yeah,
I thought you picked out a spot by the bar.
Oh, I did. I mean, but they're not gonna want me to drink that much. So it's all the tequila.
It is sort of the running joke of the show, though. Is we used to crack a beer when somebody would swear. We weren't doing video, and somebody would swear.
Yeah.
I would edit it with a beer crack, and it was the sound of a Rainier opening. The funny thing is contrary to popular belief, Nick and I barely drink.
Yeah.
Like, we like to have a drink, but I will drink something. Like, I typically drink for quality now. So when I have a drink, it's usually like a 15-year scotch or something.
You're having a Kamikaze 18 or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I drink so little, that's an affordable thing. Yeah. So like a bottle lasts me a year. So it's kind of funny that we joke
also,
about
I mean,
all
people
that.
weren't swearing that much on the show, but the people thought we were drinking a lot on the show. They're like, I thought we drank more here. Like, no.
We have like a beer.
A beer, yeah. A beer.
A beer over an hour.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you said before COVID, what were you doing before COVID?
I was actually doing high-end real estate.
Okay.
So,
natural transition.
Naturally, yeah. So I closed like Usher's house. I had one of the Real Housewives. Okay. Unfortunately, that house where Pop Smoke got killed was one of my listings.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was when I transitioned up here. That was a fun TMZ phone call.
Time to move. Yeah. We got to disclose some things in your listing. What? I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So you moved back up here, obviously. I mean, your dad's from up here with Park Place and all that. Was that a pretty natural move? Like, you knew you wanted to come up and do cars?
Yeah, it was a natural move, and it's a great place to raise your family.
Yeah.
It's clean, it's nice, it's isolated.
Yes. And you know a lot about cars. Obviously, when we were talking in the intro, you knew the GTO story right away. That's one of my fun trivia
questions. He knew one fact.
Yeah. So how did you get your interest in cars? Yeah.
Well, my first job was actually at Beverly Hills Ford. So Peter Blocksberg was the owner of Beverly Hills Ford. And this is during the XFL days, so kind of dating myself a little bit.
Yeah. We understand.
Yeah.
Isn't the XFL coming back?
It is,
yeah. The Rock is bringing it back. Yeah.
Which is actually cool.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It only took about 20 years to make it cool.
Yeah.
Are they going to allow steroids? Because I think that'll make that a totally different game.
The steroid league.
The steroid league, absolutely. He ripped his arm off. Yeah, but he's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, what's that old joke? We should just see how, make a league and just see how far we can stretch and make it go. Steroids are 100% legal. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have the lingerie football league. We can get away with anything. So,
right.
Yeah.
You know, I did participate with the lingerie league for a while, actually.
I'll be a towel boy.
Towel boy.
Yes, please. Yes.
We know somebody who was in the lingerie league.
I deny that.
No.
Oh, we do. Absolutely.
Yeah, a trainer.
Exactly.
No, she was a personal trainer and a friend of ours. Yeah, that's funny.
I would not get on a field with her.
Oh, no, she'd kill us.
Ass. Yeah.
Anyway.
And then I got my dealer's license when I was 18, and I was the guy that was buying cars at auctions for all my friends and selling them and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool. So you were actually running your own business.
My first exotic car that I bought myself was an LM002. So that's before I realized it had $5,000 bulletproof tires on it.
Yeah, that you have to buy when they release them.
What?
Yeah,
one more time?
Yeah, so Pirelli makes the Scorpion tire specifically for the LM002 in batches. And so you can only buy them when they have them.
I thought you meant you had to buy them when you buy the car every time. I'm like,
no, they're $5,000 a piece. They're made of Kevlar. They're bulletproof.
Yeah.
So it's $20,000 for your tire set change.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to own a Bugatti, apparently. No.
I think those are $45,000 tire changes.
You only have to change them every 10,000 miles.
Something like that. Insane. So what other cars have you had, though? Let's go through the fun list.
Personal cars, LM002, 599s, DBS, Vantages. Did a lot of Rolls Royce purchases. Had the first Dragon Edition in California.
What is a Dragon Edition? I've heard about it, but I didn't know you could get them in America.
You could.
Okay.
But most of them were obviously purchased by the Asian marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's what they were made for, yeah.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Not too many Americans buying a Dragon Edition.
Right.
Unless,
I don't know.
There's a lot of Asian Americans, so
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, whatever. Nothing wrong with that. What are you driving now?
McLaren.
Which one? Tell us all about it.
McLaren, I get to do a 720, and that's my like dealer demo.
I'm sorry you're suffering. That's horrible.
I'm really waiting for my Turo, though. I've been waiting for a while for that.
Okay. Why? What's with the Arturo? Like what?
Yeah, tell us about that. Actually,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Since you are the brand manager, I actually do want to know all about it. I know it's hybrid.
So the hybrid, well, first of all, McLaren is one of those brands where obviously the 675 LTs come out and you get 1 year of pre-production on the vehicles. That's kind of what McLaren's known for, is not that much time in developing a product. Now the Arturo is the exact opposite. They've done about 4 years now in the development of the vehicle. So it's basically a mini P1 in essence. You have a bigger battery pack on it. You have torque delivery on it. We have a V6 setup. So it's a 296 GTB competitor for Ferrari. But it's going to be a 5-year warranty, unlimited miles vehicle. So it'll probably be one of the best options in that category. And you're looking at a 260 MSRP, a little bit higher. So
It's a hybrid. You get the tax credit too.
you get the tax credit, you get a 5-year warranty on it.
That matters to people like that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, it does
Bring your
matter.
taxes down a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the 6,000 pound rule was a big deal with us.
Yeah.
A lot of people buying Bentley SUVs and G-Wagons lately.
Yeah, so that's actually, there's some guys, it depends where you're at, and I bet you can get away with it here because there's a lot of vehicles that weigh under 6,000 pounds that actually don't.
Yeah.
Trucks are named, the Raptor actually weighs over 6,000 pounds, even though it's listed at like 59 or something like that.
You might want to explain the 6,000 pound rule.
I
for
was
those
just
that don't
going to actually,
understand.
no,
Yeah.
actually, I was going to use this as a
Wait
tip
a
of the
minute.
week.
Your dad would be a good one for this one.
I agree. I agree. Yes.
So, yeah, actually, I would love to ask you about that because I have my internet level understanding of that, but please explain the 6,000 pound rule to people.
Personal work vehicle, full write-off.
Yeah.
As long as it's over 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Or under.
Over
6,000 pounds. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I'm looking at that.
Yeah. Your new work vehicle.
Well, a lot of people, they go weigh them. They go scale them empty, and then if you just, I have learned a rule with the Department of Licensing.
While transporting your home weight kit.
The Department of Licensing is one of those things, and I've told people this on the show before, that if you get a no the first time, just keep going until you get a yes. Because there's somebody there who hates their job and their life and doesn't really care about anything they're signing.
Okay.
And I have learned in my 20 plus years of licensing vehicles that is definitely the right approach with the Washington DOT and DOL. There's somebody there who just does not give. And you can just, if you get a no and you sort of know you're right, just keep asking.
Okay.
There you go.
I will tell anybody that.
Are you saying that if your vehicle is not 6,000 pounds, is that what you're trying to say?
No, if you 6,000 pounds, if you weigh it and it's like 59.50,
Oh, okay.
maybe you just happen to be transporting something in the back that day and go to the scales again. I don't know. It's not. I'm not telling you should break the law.
Gotcha.
Maybe some off-road tires.
Yeah.
Some Scorpion off-road tires for your LM002.
Actually,
Yeah.
that is a huge thing. He's not wrong because simply changing the tires on a truck, especially if you can size up without Jeep people. Hello, Jeep people. If you've got a Gladiator, you can get over 6,000 pounds. Trust me, it's really easy to do. But I mean, if you
Put
go
some new
from
bumpers on it. Yeah.
bumpers, winch, go from 35s to 37s, change out your suspension to mid-travel. Ta-da! 6,000 pound rule.
It's a used vehicle as well. It qualifies.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
Is this when we should put that disclaimer
Yeah,
in here? Like,
I'm not
the
encouraging
advice that you're being given on this program does not
Please consult your CPA.
consult your CPA or
talk to your
financial
tax,
professional.
yeah, talk to your CPA. But I'm not telling you to break the law. I'm telling people to take advantage of the existing laws and use them to your advantage.
Loopholes exist for a reason.
There's nothing wrong with.
You could write off your Cullinan.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah, and that's a huge write-off. One that is well worth it.
I'd have to live in it, but still I'd be happy.
Yeah, and it is. I know from my reading that it is a huge thing driving the luxury SUV market. Is that when you need a very large write-off? Yeah, $300,000 is a good size of a write-off for your business, and a lot of those people, especially real estate agents, things like that, certainly have their own business.
Oh, I'm learning something.
You know,
The more you know.
the more we know.
The more
Yeah, don't break the law, but use it to your advantage.
Do you want to buy a Bentley Bentayga by any chance?
Okay, those are two separate questions. Yes, and is somebody else financing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little more about. I'm going to switch this up, but about OpenRoad Auto Group because OpenRoad obviously is Canadian.
It is Canadian Auto Group. They own about 25 dealerships in Canada.
Yeah.
And 25 in Asia.
Oh, I didn't know about the Asian market. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about $100 million in gross revenue right now. They're a big player, and I think they're looking to come into the U.S. market, and this is a great place to start.
It is definitely the right market for them.
Were they in the luxury market, or are they in the luxury market up in Canada, or was this their first dipping into the...
They have the Rolls Royce store, so
Okay.
they were already in the luxury market. But the way that it works over there, they're distributors, so it's a different model than here.
Okay, a little bit easier. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I remember when they first came down here, and it was like, that's just amazing to have these dealerships here, especially, you know, be able to represent it.
And then Christian, the CEO of the company, is an ex-Porsche race car driver, so there's a lot of passion toward the product.
Okay, interesting.
Are you a track guy?
I like doing track days.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What have you taken to the track so far?
You know, McLaren's kind of a fun one. So McLaren's, but Mazda Miata is not a bad deal on the track either.
It's always
right.
Good. Yeah.
I still want to drive one with it. Somebody's put a V8 in it.
A flying Miata conversion.
I think that'd be kind of fun. I mean, I'd probably die, but I mean, die happy. So yeah.
All right. So I'm going to ask you to step out of the dealership role just a little bit.
Thank you.
What is?
Take your jacket off. Relax.
What other cars are catching your eye? That didn't have to be new. I mean, like, let's just go across the list. Like, what makes you an auto enthusiast? I asked this question because, like, Nick and I are so jaded when it comes to cars, especially being in this market around here, where Ferrari every day is not uncommon, even in the rain. So
I
what
don't know.
catches your eye now?
I think my jaded. I mean, I was showed something tonight. Two things I've never seen. So
yeah, that definitely. There are very few cars that kickstart our hearts.
Yes,
and that was definitely one of them.
Pause it for just a second.
I can't.
Oh, sorry. You could cut this out or no?
I can put a space in.
Can we talk about the cars you showed us or not?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
Well, I'm just going to leave that in there.
Okay,
Sorry, this is what we would have done if we were editing. We're not going to.
So the two things that obviously Dan and I got to introduce to a Senna GTR.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, and this is, of all the cars, don't get me wrong, the full carbon body Ford GT Super Snake, GT500 was...
Eleanor Super Snake.
Everything back there was amazing.
With Shelby's signature.
I mean, I was this close to getting the GTR, but the seat doesn't fit, so...
I know, same thing. I tried to get in it.
My millions I don't have are going other places. So, exactly.
I think we time-lapsed you getting out of that car.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure if you speed it up, it'll still... If we put it to that music up... I
think you got out of it more gracefully than I did, honestly.
Yeah. I was more like get out without kicking the stock off the gear shift.
Yeah, I was super nervous of the steering column. But yeah, what other cars still catch your eye?
You know, I've always loved the V12 Ferrari front engine. So the 599s, obviously the A12. We just took on trade. You're obviously looking at that car.
Yeah.
All the last of the V8s now. So, you know, the F8s I think are fantastic cars. Comfortable date night cars and refined Ferrari products. McLaren 720, I think it'll be the last of the V8s. So to me, that's a special car. I do get last year production. And the stuff that's really sticking out in my head right now is that, like we were talking about earlier, is some of the new electric cars coming out. I think we're talking about Scout today, which is a new product from Volkswagen being reintroduced. So full electric SUVs and trucks coming out.
So like the Scouts. Right?
International Scout.
Okay, just so I'm clear. Yeah,
Volkswagen now owns the rights to International Scout. They bring back an electric Scout.
It's interesting how all these brands are going out and finding these. DeLorean's been relaunched,
which looks good, by the way.
I think it's a nice product, actually.
Yeah. We had the new, not the Pantera. Was it the Pantera? The Di Tommaso. I'm sorry, Di Tommaso is relaunched and things like that. So, and that Di Tommaso is going to be incredible. But I mean, these brands coming back, I think it's very nostalgic for people that have of our vintage.
The Volkswagen's bringing back the bus. I mean, which is. I don't know if there's any market for an electric bus. It's that.
I know, but I mean, they brought back the Beetle and that worked. I get that. I don't know. I'm wondering if the bus. The world we're living in now, when the bus came out, it was a very, it was a love bus. Let's be honest.
Well, when they launched the Beetle, if you remember, I mean, people were pretty fond of it. Like, I mean, now it's kind of a little, I guess, played out, but not really. It's still a great little car.
Look at the Sprinter branding success. Everybody has a Sprinter van now.
Yeah, that's cool.
So why not get the Volkswagen product similar?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it. It's just, I will be interested to see what Volkswagen does with Scout. Like I said, I literally learned, I did not know that until earlier today. So in my mind, the idea that I have for Scout and being able to, it's half the time when people look at a Scout, they think it's a Bronco.
Well, duh.
Yeah, I know, right? So
yeah, the off-road market in electric is kind of weird, but it's getting there.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, still waiting to see a Hummer across a river.
Yes, exactly.
And just watch the lights flicker. Yeah. Do you think?
Can you imagine a worse scenario?
No.
Of water crossing an electric car.
No, I can't. Like,
how do you even rescue it? Like, I'd be like, heck no. Grab a helicopter because we ain't touching it.
Dan and I have talked about it when we did the monkey run last year. We were in the middle of nowhere in Washington on the backcountry discovery route. I said it right.
Nice.
And there was a guy up there with a Tesla, and I'm like, and we're all like, what are you doing? Like, about the time you poke a battery, like. The new Hummer is sort of a. Nobody's going to do what they did with the old Hummers with those. Like,
of course not.
Even the H2s that were just Tahoes.
Well, not necessarily. I think everybody's going to do exactly what they did with the old
They're
Hummers.
They're going to go to an empty parking lot and they're going to crab crawl.
No, they're just going to drive them around town with big wheels and tires on them because that's what everybody did with an H1.
Yeah.
There's 5% of people who bought an H1 off-roaded it, a civilian model.
Yeah.
And the other
the civilian models break. Like the
military
ones don't.
Break. No, they do. Those things are pieces of junk.
The military ones are worse. The
Really?
Alpha,
Way worse.
All you really want is an Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah, the H1 Alpha is the only thing that's good.
Something cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, cheap.
So you guys have we joked about it the other day, but now that we're here, you guys have my Porsche in the parking lot.
Yeah, we do. Are you interested in buying a Porsche?
Yeah, you want a Porsche?
I was going to ask you how
Two owners ago, the guy really beat on it, though.
That's true. He did. Several launches.
Yeah.
How is the used car market for you guys? I mean, you got quite a few McLarens, and you seem to have a relatively good inventory. What's it like? The inflation, though, is insane. The markups are insane.
You're basically buying a used car for new car pricing, and new cars all have a markup. We can go statistically. It doesn't matter if you're at a Hyundai dealership or Rolls Royce or Bentley and McLaren dealership. 76% of consumers paid over sticker. So we're experiencing that. Nothing's changed. Lead time on orders. Some car brands like Lamborghini sold out for 2 years.
2 years now. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Bentley, today they did the product launch for the long wheelbase. So that's a new product coming out. A Turo and McLaren. I think McLaren's actually reducing the numbers produced this year. So they're keeping their values high, which is good. I think this whole, anomaly in the marketplace is actually a good thing for us.
How long do you see this lasting?
You know what? It's kind of like Rolex. With Lamborghini, they're going to produce 4,000 or 5,000 units. They're not going to change that. It's more about brand retention.
No, I meant like this whole ridiculously priced cars. I mean, for everything from Hyundais to, the mark. I mean, I was looking at an ad for a Hyundai dealership, and the markup was insane. And I'm going, they're pricing themselves almost out of the market of the people that they're targeting.
It's getting to a point where people are nervous about buying a car and holding off on it if they can.
Yeah.
I think the supply chain issue is still here, and it's not going away for another year or so.
Yeah, cars shipping without CarPlay and Android just to save chips now.
I agree with that. I think Ford came out today. There's 53,000 Broncos sitting waiting for chips.
They will sell them to you, but you won't have a navigation or a backup camera or...
You mean all the stuff I want? Yeah.
Massaging seats.
And those backup cameras are overrated. That's my biggest complaint with that Porsche out there when I had it.
Oh, yeah.
We could have put one in. I told you we could list 3M sticky tape.
I've got a lot nicer drill bits now, so we're good to go.
Right? I'll tell you.
Just go to Car Toys. You'll be fine.
Oh, God.
Right? God. You say things like that. People will listen to this, actually. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you about the aftermarket stuff. Do you guys you guys are talking about being a track shop. What does that mean for your service department and track prep and things like that? You guys are doing all that here?
We can do pre-track inspections so you don't void your warranty out.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the requirements for some of the brands is that pre-track inspection. And it's going to be helpful when we have our own home track.
Who is the most forgiving with track mods? And what are they?
No one is.
No one is.
Every brand here built a perfect car, and you shouldn't need to change it, Dan. You shouldn't need wheels or anything. I mean, truthfully, they look at it that way. And we're touching on this again. I think it's very important when you buy a car, especially in this luxury market, it's important to talk to your salesman about the things like that. Like you're talking about, like, if you're going to race this, make sure you bring it to us before you do it, or you could void your warranty. Don't park it outside. It's little things like that I know a good salesman like you talks to people about that, but I was never taught. I mean,
well, in this market, you're buying your track car and you're buying your track day car.
Yes.
So if you can go do a track day with any McLaren, even the GT, right off the showroom floor, and it's going to do better than 99% of the cars in the market. And if you've got that money,
but he's saying that if you're going to do a track day, you need to have your car checked out by the dealership before you do it. Because if you go out there and break something, it's a lot like probably your insurance, where your insurance goes, you crash, it's not on the road, we're not going to pay for it, kind of thing. So.
But also, it's a consumer is not really realizing that if you do 10 track days, you have carbon ceramic brakes, you're going to have to swap that system out. And most of the time on the track, you probably want your still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really popular swap for even the GT2 owners we've seen. Almost everybody at Drivers Club, Hagerty Garage and Social, excuse me.
Oh, they're going from carbon ceramics to
They're
steels?
taking them off, yeah. And they're either selling them for a massive amount of money, which is smart, or they're just saving them for when they trade it back in, which is what a lot of people do.
Which, I mean, when we went through that whole thing with your Porsche and
oh, yeah.
I mean, that was seeing the prices.
10,000 a rotor was MSRP.
I don't think people. I mean, I get why they're so expensive. Obviously, you need them to last, and you need them to be to stop you. But especially with the heat. Yeah.
It also takes a while to heat those up, also. So.
Yep.
Yeah. What's your favorite performance thing you've seen come through the works as you've been doing this? Like I was saying, carbon ceramics was a big change. Magnetic ride, even though it's been around from GM forever, became pretty much standard in Ferrari.
Probably rear steering.
Rear steering.
Yeah. That was probably a big game changer, especially for the 911 brand.
Oh yeah, I loved it on mine actually. So the first time they got it right. I mean, who was it? It was Honda with the Prelude that had the 4-wheel steering.
Oh, that's
and then
right. Yeah.
Nissan did on, what was it? I think the 300ZX had it as an option.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah. And then,
How much? Okay, so I'm going to ask the question to both of you. How much do you think that really helps in a car? Because to me, it's one more thing to break in my mind. I'm going, okay,
what do you think?
Well, I agree with you. It's one other thing to break.
Yeah,
But
I'm just saying, like, of all, it's like you broke your rear steer. I have rear steer.
I loved it, especially when I had to do a sharp turn in the Turbo S.
Okay.
It was just like, man.
if you're tracking, it makes a big difference.
100% worth it. Okay. I mean, I'm not against it. I was just, as something I look at, okay, that's one more thing that can be, that I can break. And I would break it.
Yeah, I feel like there was...
This is coming from me.
I feel like there was kind of that point where technology came along a little too fast and we tried to introduce all at once and everything broke all the time. And now we're kind of in a sweet spot where we're not seeing those massive, rapid, huge changes to where they're becoming sort of normalized. Like think of magnetic suspension for one, or even carbon ceramic brakes. Like when they first came out, they were relatively brittle. Cars that had them didn't actually drive that much. But now that they're pretty normalized on almost everything, they hold up pretty well, unless you get a defective rotor. But for the most part, I mean, like most people aren't tracking those cars, and you don't ever have to change your brake pads.
Sure.
And your rotors, I mean, your pads, yes, but maybe once every what?
No brake dust either, which is kind of nice, right?
That alone was worth it for me.
Yeah, just talk about it. It's all about the maintenance stuff.
All right. Since our audience can see it behind you, we're looking at the color swatch wall. We're in the Rolls Royce room, and this is obviously not all the colors they offer, but popular colors, interior options. You guys can't see it off to the side, interior options. Tell us about like what it's like the build process. If I'm going to come in here, I'm going to go like let's just do Rolls Royce. Well, McLaren, you're McLaren. So tell me what it's like when I go and buy a McLaren.
Well, McLaren, you're going to walk into my showroom, and we're going to use a computer touchscreen and go through the whole build process. And we're basically going to put that build slot into the system. I'm going to get a freeze date from the manufacturer, and about 6 to 8 months later, you're going to have your car.
Okay,
freeze date. Okay, so it kind of locks in when they're going to start building the car.
Correct.
And and then at that process, when you come in and you spec a car, you can obviously change some things up to a certain date, correct?
Till that freeze date. Yeah.
Okay.
So once I have it, even with Rolls Royce, once that freeze date hits, you're locked. That's what it is.
And I know a lot of times, like with Porsche and things like that, and I want to speak with McLaren as far as the MSO and things like that, and doing one-off things. I mean, how open is McLaren to doing things like that, or is it a money speaks kind of thing?
It's a money speaks kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So MSO requests go directly to the manufacturer, and you can basically do anything you want, as long as you're willing to pay for that R&D.
Okay.
Wow, that's cool though.
Which is something, and that's not an answer I expected. It's the R&D. Like I sit there and you go, I want this color paint. Well, that's great. They have to go out, they have to test it because it has to be to McLaren standards before they're going to put it on a car, because it would make them look bad if they didn't test it. So you're right. You're paying for the R&D.
Are there any options that like customers should never skip, or maybe some that do, and then you have to like, hey, no, you really want this?
Front axle lift.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good call out.
How could you skip that?
that,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, in my mind, you're just asking to buy. Yeah, but you're just asking to buy splitter after splitter.
And then I've actually had to talk some clients into putting audio systems in their car. They allow McLaren customers to do the audio delete.
Okay, does McLaren charge more for the auto delete? Like Porsche was doing that, where it would cost you more to not have a stereo kind of thing.
It won't cost you $1 more.
Okay.
But it'll help your resale value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You always want to get that third row in the McLarens too. That's a very important.
Oh yeah.
I was laughing. The infotainment screen, I will say, on the early McLarens. From what I've heard, they fixed it. But the early MP4, 650, 675, that series, the 6 series especially, even in the 570, I guess a little bit, is awful. It's one of the worst I've ever used in my life in the 6 series.
When
the MP4 12.
When the MP4 12C came out, didn't they did a bunch of design here with audio or something? Because there was one.
Oh, no, it sounded amazing.
But they had a car here. There was an incident here. And I thought they were here working on the sound system. There was something around this area with technology that was working with McLaren.
There was.
Yes.
There was a rocket scientist who comes in here that was working on the navigation system,
Yes.
entertainment system.
Yeah.
Decliner. Yeah.
Yep.
The more you know.
And then there was an incident. But it was a pre-production car, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Well, pre-production cars tend to have issues.
Well, yeah, that's my point. Yeah, that's
They tested the
that's where the bugs.
Arturo in winter with summer tires.
Oh, yeah, I could say that could go bad.
You'd think that would be one they'd be able to catch. This is not going to work. I mean, we know. I mean, Mr. Fowler. He was actually supposed to stop by. He was in Boise with his 650 in snow, covered in snow, which I loved him. Good job, John.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to anybody who drives a supercar in winter. Just get the right tires, good to go.
Yeah.
Most of the time, as long as you're not shoveling, they actually do pretty well most of the time.
I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, especially with Lamborghini, it's all-wheel drive systems. So
Yeah, it's 90% rear bias. But actually, let me ask you about that. So is it Artura?
Artura, yeah.
Artura, is that I'm saying it right? Okay.
I keep thinking of the never-ending story.
The new hybrid, is it?
Arturo.
Yeah.
That was the horse's name, I think. But yeah,
I think it was the giant dragon.
Was it the dragon? Oh, okay.
That
you're
was
right.
Falcor.
That's Falcor.
It was Atreyu. Was the kid.
Arturo.
Now
was
you're
the horse
right.
then.
Yeah. I only know that from the band.
The horse
Anyway.
the horse died. Oh, I shouldn't tell.
It came
that.
back.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Spoiler for the 25-year-old movie. The 30-year-old
older
movie.
than that. It's a lot older
Anyway,
than that.
how does the hybrid system on the new McLaren work?
It's torque fill. So it's just like the mini P1 system. So they refined the product more. So it's complete torque fill. You're at 690 horsepower essentially. The electric torque fill is 90 horsepower of that. So 600 naturally aspirated horses, whatever you want to say, and 90 with the torque fill. You're talking about a product with 700 horsepower. It's going to be a phenomenal track monster.
So is it front wheel only, or is it, how does the hybrid system?
It's going to be rear wheel dominant.
Rear wheel dominant, but it's all-wheel drive technically. Not really, but
Kind of, yeah.
yeah.
The motors are up front, though. Are they integrated into the rear, too?
Integrated into the rear.
I'll be honest. I've seen a ton of stuff on that car, and you're the first person to call it a mini P1, and that narrows that closes
That's what it is.
so well. But
That's exactly what I thought.
exactly.
It's a $280,000 mini P1.
Yeah.
Which you can drive and enjoy, and you don't have to worry about a $150,000 battery swap later.
Is maintenance that bad on a P1? I mean, I've seen.
You were in a Senna GTR earlier, right?
Yes.
So you got to change the bladder tank on that car every 5 years. How much did that cost?
Well, I remember they had to do that a big time on the F40s.
F40s, yeah, they would eat through.
Yeah.
So that's an engine out service.
Yeah.
We're talking about $150,000 every 5 years. LaFerrari's the same way.
Actually, that's a good question. What is maintenance like on a McLaren? Not the what is the normal maintenance schedule?
5,000 miles once a year. Your fluid swaps. It's just like you should do on any other sports car. Pretty actually low cost of maintenance on them.
Huh.
Which is
nice. Relative.
Just user error is the most expensive stuff.
I did the oil chain in my garage. It's fine. I told McLaren I did it. We're
You'd
good.
be surprised.
I know. I mean,
I kind of wonder how right to repair falls into that, because I'm sure there is don't do it. Whoever's listening and you have a McLaren, don't do your own service. But I mean, there's a lot of cars, exotics included, that are actually really easy to service. Porsche is one of them.
Yeah.
Like a 911 is like brainless to do an oil change on. 2 drain plugs, fill, done. Like change the filter up top, it's actually clean. And the air filter, no.
But it's 9 days to put a backup camera on it. So
that's true. It's not easy. I mean,
we looked into that.
Easy to maintenance, but yeah, I wonder how that works if McLaren freaks out. I know Ferrari does.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Well, I mean, I get it. Especially with Ferrari, McLaren, and Lamborghini, they're presenting a product that is superior in their mind, and it is. And they truly believe. I mean, I have spent enough time at Concorso with some heads of things where they go, Lamborghini doesn't like it when you put wheels on the car, because they feel that the wheels that come on the car are superior and you should love them. And
it's designed for the vehicle.
Exactly.
It's like getting a Rolls Royce and putting a set of aftermarket rims on it. You bought the car for the ride.
Yeah, and they're so nice.
Yeah.
What is so? If I'm going to buy a McLaren, what should I buy?
720.
720.
I'd rather have a 720 than a 765, and I'll tell you the reason behind it. I know
really?
you're giving me that look on your face.
No, actually, I really want to hear this.
Yes, because the LT lightweights, frankly, they're track cars. A 720 has a perfect compromise of comfortability and track usage. So I could take that car and daily it, which is probably what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to track once in a blue moon. I can drive it to the track, get all the performance I want out of it,
drive it home.
Drive it home. Now that 765 has the Senna seats or the P1 seats, which are not very comfortable.
I actually like them.
They're very tight on you. That's why.
It's interesting because the ones I've been in weren't that bad on me, like compared to the GTR, which that was like 10 pounds in a 4-pound bag.
They're not easy to get in and out of, but they were surprisingly comfortable.
Okay,
I don't know if I'd want to take a road trip.
I will say this: I haven't driven a car with Senna seats, but when I've sat in them, I felt more comfortable than the comfort seats in a McLaren are incredible.
I'm going to invite you to drive a 620R with the Senna seats in it.
Okay.
You're going to come out on the 21st. We're going to do that.
Okay.
And let me know what you think.
No, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to let you drive a 720R.
I'm doing this for you. You remember that, okay?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a favor
take
to
one
you.
for the team?
Yeah. I don't want to put it that way, because if he's probably right.
You might for McLaren.
I'm going to be coming out of there going, I took one for the team. Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay. I mean, because comfort seats, like what did we had? We had comfort seats in the
570s.
570s, and I really enjoyed those. And I actually had my mom in that car who has some back issues, and she thought it was rather comfortable.
I was a little tall for him.
You've done some car rallies like Gumball and Gold Rush. And
We've done our own rallies.
We've done our own, yeah.
Ours are a little longer.
There you go.
We're too wild for Gumball.
Well, it's like I remember when the Aventador came out, for example. You know, everybody thought that'd be a great car until you do a road trip in it.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, yeah. Well, I mean, not even the comfort seats in Lamborghini are tough. Like, I will say, I mean, most comfortable seat we've been in is when we drove the Urus when they first brought it out.
Oh, those were fantastic seats.
They're extremely comfortable, front and rear.
That's a cool guy car. It's a cool
Really
dad car.
That was one of the better. It's probably the best SUV I've ever driven. Period.
Hands down.
Yeah, it just they lived up to the hype, which I was really shocked because I was super skeptical when you get an exotic car maker making an SUV, which makes sense, especially for making money and producing more cars. So please, exotic car makers, please make SUVs so you can make cooler cars. That has worked out fine for everybody.
Yeah, but just a side note to Ferrari: stop suing people just because you want the name.
Yeah, no kidding. But I mean, if
They're suing a charity, just so we're clear, for lack of
such a Ferrari
for their new SUV.
Sorry, Ferrari, but it's a very
They're
Ferrari
suing a
thing.
charity
because the charity owns the name.
Trademark and license.
And they're not using it, and so their Ferrari is going after it. So yeah.
Can they just buy it and donate?
Exactly. Right? I'll tell you. So, I mean, I'm going to have to get the full article and I'll send it to you. But basically, that's Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari goes after people when they don't like the raps that people put
I was going to say,
again,
speaking of Ferrari and McLaren, I'm dying to have Deadmau5 on the show just so he can give me the real story with him getting rid of his Ferrari. He got the cease and desist from Ferrari.
Yeah, he did.
And he
got rid of it. Then he got a McLaren.
And no, he got Huracan.
Yeah, he's got a P1 too, though.
He's got a P1.
Yeah, he loves his
But I think
McLarens.
Lamborghini had no problem with him doing it, ironically.
No, they were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Deadmau5 was driving our cars. Cool.
Whatever.
Yeah, he seems
Kind of like Cristal, right? Back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just got to fill your bathtub with it. It's fine.
What are the weirdest options you can get? Like, I'm not weirdest, or just like the most unique ones. I'm looking at the Rolls Royce wall, and I remember the sheepskin floor mats that when we had that Cullinan.
It made you want to take your shoes off. I did not, but it made you want to take your shoes off.
Should have took your shoes off.
Yeah.
No, it seems disrespectful.
What are the coolest options?
Crap, I'm on camera.
Well, the cool thing about Rolls Royce, you really can bespoke a vehicle any way you want. So, kind of cool thing. Starlight headliner. You want to do that to the Constellation when the day you were born.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You want to
that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So just some small stuff like that.
Wedding anniversary is a wedding gift.
Minus the whole fact of like, hey, Nick, that's a nice Rolls Royce. Oh, what's the Starliner? Well, that's the Constellation of the guy that owned it before me. I'm going to have it restarred. I can only sell this car to somebody who was born on the same day as I am. Yeah. So.
Well, that's interesting. Another fact, though, is that most Rolls Royce consumers, they don't sell their cars. They just add to it.
Of course not.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 Rolls Royces, and that's all I'm driving.
Huh. What about, well, not just Rolls Royce, but like McLaren and stuff like that? What are the cool options? Like, I mean, the roof scoops are one of my favorite things you can get, but
McLaren's, everything's pretty much more standardized. There's not really that many more options you can do on the vehicles besides carbon pack 1, 2, 3. And
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, they've standardized things a little bit more. So if you want to have fun with McLaren, you have to go MSO, which is full bespoke. Lamborghini, they've standardized their options as well. Rolls Royce, you have the most flexibility.
I was not aware that there is a off-road package for the Urus and a street package for the Urus.
It actually makes sense, too, when you looked at it.
And it's funny because I look at the is it the off-road package? Am I saying that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that's okay. And I look at it now and I go, that makes sense because the lower valances are more, they're not plastic, but they're
just raised.
Ground effects.
They're more, the ground effects is gone. There's less carbon that you can break. You could actually take it off and blast it through a snow berm compared to one that's beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, when they said off-road package, I don't think they picture anybody out there like, hey, let's go to Moab in the Urus. It's more of a like, yeah, if you want to.
First place I'd go with.
It is the first place I would go. If I had FU money, I would take an Urus to Moab and be like, yeah, we're doing Razorback and Hell's Revenge.
I mean,
Poison Spider.
the underpinnings of it, basically the RSQ8. I mean, you can.
That's got a great traction.
It's also Bentayga.
Yeah.
It's same architecture.
Yeah.
Did they done anything with the Bentayga in the back seat? The reason I say this is when they introduced it here, they had a lot of the stars that the football stars and stuff that came back, and the back seat they couldn't sit in the back seat.
Well, good news is long wheelbase guy announced yesterday.
There you go.
Hey, there we go.
So yes,
cool.
They fixed it. Yes.
They fixed it.
Yeah.
So now you can get a Maybach style vehicle out of a Bentley.
I mean, Bentley is something. I mean, I love Rolls, but Bentley. There's something about driving a Bentley. There's just the interior. It's
a driver's car.
It's different though than a Rolls Royce because a Rolls Royce, like, and we were talking about it. Give me the statistics on how many people are driven in a Rolls Royce and compared to when they buy it.
Well, it's changed now. So you see about 60-40. So 60% were chauffeured. Now it's 60% drive themselves, and the average consumer is 45 years old.
Okay.
So he's our age.
That's what I was going to say. That's so interesting to me, but I get it in the fact that like. It'd be really fun to drive one of those and be in luxury. And I mean, it'd make you want to live farther away from the office just to spend time in that car.
Yeah. Actually, that's not.
I could say that about a McLaren too, but
I was going to say,
yeah,
I would probably move to like Wenatchee if I bought a McLaren.
That's a fun little daily drive.
Service once a month. It's got 5,000 miles on it.
Yeah. Exactly. That would have fun though. You know me. That doesn't matter what I have. I'm putting 20,000 miles a year on it.
I think you've seen multiple cars.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, we're. Oops, wrong one there.
Get the right button.
Sorry about that. I just killed the video.
You are the worst editor ever.
I know. I'm trying. This is not a one-person job.
Good job, Dan.
I know,
Dan, I'm very impressed at how you can manage all this.
Usually, I'm the special squirrel.
It's just a lot of medication. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
Excellent. Well, Rami, I really appreciate you taking time and talking to us about, obviously your transition into this out of coming after COVID and showing us around this dealership, which is incredible. I've seen things today that I need to go home and go work. It makes me want to go home and get back to work.
Yeah.
So,
I need to get paid more. This is a beautiful spot though. And it's great to see the dealership growing, the brand's growing. It's nice to see such a presence of McLaren here. I mean, Lamborghini has been around here for a while, but seeing McLaren grow all the time is I don't know.
And we're looking forward to doing a lot more stuff with the community here and getting more involved and really pushing that brand.
Do you guys have an opening day, like an official opening for the dealership? I know you guys are open now, but
we're going to have 4 opening parties essentially. Okay. So there'll be one for Lamborghini, one for Rolls Royce, one for McLaren. Am I forgetting one? Bentley?
Yes, there you go. Oh, the one on the end. Okay.
All right. Well, a lot of people in Avants, a lot of people around here are definitely in the market as this dictates, I should say. Sort of
correct.
Say. So how do they get a hold of you?
They can find me on Instagram. It just seems to be a popular thing with millennials. So at RamiAtherton.com. Also OpenRoad, Rami.Atherton at OpenRoad.com.
We can put the stuff in the...
Oh, yeah. It'll be on the show notes, but it's better. People hear it, see it. So, yeah. All right.
Tell him Nick and Dan sent you. He won't return your call for a couple of days, but
Well, just tell him you're calling for Nick. He has an office here as well.
Exactly. I have an office here. Yeah, somebody has to do it. Yeah. So.
It's in the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm okay. It's a nice bathroom.
It is a very nice bathroom, actually.
He used a woman's one, by the way.
Yeah, I did not. I can use whatever I want to use. And the governor said so.
We're not getting into that in this show.
All right. Well, for this episode of the Avants podcast, as always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.